So just looking at waltz, a couple of things just to bear in mind. The left-hand little chords, I mentioned that if I was there, I would write staccatos on those, even though they're not marked. It's the way you should treat the chords because they're just an accompaniment. So we don't want them to get in the way of the melody in the right hand. Okay, so they should be just in the background, all right? Unfortunately, the tendency is to do this, particularly when you put it with the right hand, because you want to join one chord to the right hand note that follows. So, but actually you want a gap between there. Just listen. There's a gap before I played that A. Okay, if I don't put the gap, the danger is that it makes it longer, but also it emphasizes it as well, which just throws the whole bar out because the chords are all crotchets. They should be exactly the same length. You shouldn't have one that's longer than the other. So you're getting it without any problem. It's just being aware of it and maintaining it because it's the same all the way through the music. So you've got to keep that up and not forget about it. I think you're just, I don't think you're doing any more. It's continuing. You were doing it hands separately, weren't you? So I think in the lesson we put just maybe the first 8 bars or so hands together, and you could do that. I don't think that's too difficult there, but I think after that, the next sort of probably 8 bars or so, I would keep hands separately. I'm going to go from the second line where we've got the F sharp and the A chord, because the left hand here, just a little bit more to think about. Take the third finger down to the F natural. Then you've got these 2 fingers either side that fit nicely. Take the finger off of the black key onto the E. And then, do go down to the next chord as well. All right, because that's the end of the phrase really. So go down. So just do those left hand chords till you've got them. Especially this one. Going to this one because it's a quick change there, isn't it? There's only 1 bar of each of those. The right hand again from the same place. Technically you should put breaks between the phrases. So there's little breaks here, but not here. Okay, it doesn't follow quite the same pattern. So the first phrase is quite long and the second one is the same length. But then you've got some short ones. So usually you would punctuate by putting a tiny, tiny break between the 2 notes and not join over. All right. And then the next phrase is slightly longer. Okay. So that's how we work phrasing in music. It's normally an indication of where you put little breaks or punctuation really in the music. Sometimes it's just a matter of judgment. But here I think it's definitely quite obvious because the music starts with a first count, an odd first count, isn't it? So actually the third count of the 3-beat bar there. So the next phrase starts on the same place, and the next one, and the next one. They all start with a crotchet just before the bar line and carrying on as well. You can see it all the way through the music. So the fact that it's phrased like that by Mr. Kabalevsky means that, you know, he wants it phrased like that. You wouldn't just string the whole notes up with no breaks anywhere. All right, it doesn't make such musical sense to do it like that. It doesn't give it shape and interest. So if I do, say, that second section with no breaks, it's fine. But if I put the punctuation in, okay, just gives it a little bit more interest, a bit more shape. And in piano music, particularly, I think if you've got a melody like that, you think of it like a song. And if you were singing it, you would naturally put breaths in those places. and probably the word, if there were words, well there would be if you were singing it, they would be phrased with commas in the text, so you would naturally put those breaks to make it make sense. So musically, that's how I think you approach it as a pianist. All right, if it's a real melody, which this one definitely is, it's definitely a melody with an accompaniment. All right,